Ma'am Tess Concha, brothers, good morning. So I'm here to explain and demonstrate what is voice, the kind of voice, and the property of voice. So first, let me explain what is voice and why voice is important. So voice is important in effective speaking and can be rewarding asset to any public speaker. However, if used wrongly, the voice of the speaker can irritate not only himself but also his listener. So in giving your public speaking, we must know how to deliberate our voice so that our listener can understand easily and to avoid misunderstanding, confusion, and misinterpretation. So, voice and speech. Voice is sound produced by the vibration of the vocal cords, while speech is voice and breath shaped into words by tongue, lips, teeth, palate, and nasal passages. So, therefore, speech is voice plus the added symbolization of words as ordinary conceived. So that is voice and speech. So let's proceed to the property of the voice. So the voice consists of four vibrations of which have four physical properties. First is volume, second is pitch, third is quality, and fourth is duration. So let's explain one by one. So volume whose primary function is to make words audible and whose secondary function is to emphasize words in their representation of the ideas in a sequence. So in giving your words or your sentence, you must emphasize your word or your voice properly. For example, Alki is handsome. So you must deliberate your voice clearly and emphasize Alki is handsome. Or Alki is handsome, not like Alki is handsome or Alki is handsome, because if you speak too fast, so the listener will be confused or he or she cannot hear the words properly. Or if you speak too slow, the listener will get bored or will be irritated. So, volume implies the loudness of the carrying power of the voice. The speaker must speak loud enough to be heard, but not so loud or to shout. So, in giving your your speech, you must sure that your voice is heard by your listener at the most or at the back of the room. So so that they can hear you and they can understand you well. But in giving your speech not too loud, like for example in a small room and your voice is too loud, so your listener or your audience will be irritated because it's too loud. So don't shout, just be loud enough. So next is the pitch. Pitch is the relative highness or lowness of tone. So it is your lowness or highness of your tone. So make it sure that it's not too high and not too low. So next is quality. Is the characteristic which distinguish one tone from another when the volume, pitch, and the length of tones are at the same. So the voice quality is determined by the physical structure of your throat. Throat is very important. By the which the throat used to produce voice, and by the speaker mental and emotional reaction to his own ideas by the host desire to express them. So make sure that when you deliberate your voice, it must be good or have a quality. In order to produce a pleasant voice during speaking, a speaker must relax in order to cultivate an easy, natural, conversational style of speaking conducive to effective audience contact. So, when you're giving your speech, you must relax, calm, and cultivate an easy. So don't be tense so that your voice will not be tense or will not be be rough or something. So let's proceed to the duration. So durations implies the rate of words spoken per minute and length of pauses between words. So it is very important in giving your speech that there's a duration. Not all the time when you give your speech, your whole straight you will speak. Because in the end your voice will be low because your throat will be dry. So it is very important to have pauses so that your listener also can understand you and can can know your speech well. So for example, I will speech a long topic. To that topic, I must have pauses. For example, so coconut is very useful in our body because coconut is very effective in our sugar. So if we just continue our my speech, the listener or the audience will be bored because it is continuous. So it's also important to pause for a while and speak again. Next, pauses are also effective aids in promoting interest in the speech. Speaker must learn how to use his pauses to produce the desired effect on the audience. So, what like I mentioned earlier, pause is very important. But in giving your speech, don't make many pauses or too long pause. Okay? So, how to develop a pleasing and impressive voice? So, there are four most desirable attributes of voice. First, it should be pleasant to listen. Second, loud enough to be heard. Clear and distinct enough to be understood. And lastly, flexible enough to carry the great possible of the amount of meaning. So, you can develop your voice that is pleasing and impressive. How? So, here are ways to make your voice an important asset in your speech delivery. So, there are 10 lists. So, let's discuss this one by one. Alright. So, first is relax and let go. The first step in voice improvement is to be able to relax your throat and jaw. So, in making your voice, you must ensure that your jaw and your throat are relaxed. Jaw is this, and your throat. So, relaxation are also foster calmer spirit, improve your voice, and better thinking. So, when you relax, you can think well and you can deliberate your speech well. Then, remember that speaking is not to do or die. Undertaking, rather, it is a creative expression. For this reason, you must pay careful attention to your speaking voice. So, in giving your public speaking, it is not just for the sake of your grade or for the sake of the money. No, but you're giving your speech or public speaking because to you want your listener to be educated, you want your listener to be informed, and etc. So, one of the best ways of keeping the throat passage open is to stand and let your whole body go limp from the weight. Then drop your jaw loosely and say wah, wah, wah. But too, don't open your mouth too widely so that your jaw will be relaxed. Wah, wah. Look, wah, wah, throat, wah, wah. It can help relax your jaw and your throat. Then Do this continuously for 5 minutes. Do you feel the pleasant release of your tension when you practice wah, wah? I practice it earlier, so it make my jaw and my throat calmer and easy to speak. So, second list, learn to breathe properly. Since there can be no voice without breathing, it is vital that those who want to give voices breathe deeply and rhythmically. Too much effort gives a labored stained effect. So if you deliver your voice very loudly, so in the middle part or last part, your voice will become low because your throat will be dry or your throat will be stressed. So there's a big chance that you cannot finish your speech because you don't have voice anymore. So you must breathe deeply to maintain a firm, flexible support to the tone. So breathe and relaxed. So for diaphragmatic breathing exercise, so I'm gonna just demonstrate it to you. Stand erect, place your hands over your waist at your side, above your hips bone, and below your ribs. So one, finger towards front and thumbs to the back. So now inhale deeply but easily. So very good. So if you can detect an expansion along your waistline, you should feel the distinct pressure here when you inhale and noticeable recession when you exhale. So when you inhale and exhale, it helps your body relax and make your body comfortable. So your shoulders should not be permitted to rise when you are standing like that. When you exhale, not like that. It can make your body more stressful. So just relax like this, above of your waist, then below of your ribs, then inhale, exhale. Very good. So while you are doing this, it is also advisable to practice guttural sounds. An excellent drill is to say ya, 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 ya. So that is very effective. Number 3 in the list, watch your posture. Good posture not only adds to your appearance, it is also necessary to provide enough space for your lungs to function properly in the making sounds, which becomes speech. So your posture, your body, because if you when you're giving your speech, when you're like that, so you cannot give your voice or you cannot deliberate your voice properly. So if you're like that or like that, so it is not appropriate and not good. So good posture like this, not do erect but just good. So stand erect and easy, natural stance with a chest up and shoulder relaxed. This will contribute to relaxation and flexibility of the movement. So if your body is relaxed, so you can give your voice properly and good. So number 4, train your ears. More physically facility is not enough for a good and effective voice. You must also have a clear mental picture of precisely the quality of the voice and of other aspects of speech as you wish. So, we speak as we hear. In order to cultivate keen perception, sensitive feeling, and fine develop aesthetic sense. So when you are giving your speech, make it sure you also listen also your voice because if you just continue your speech and your listener at the back cannot hear you, so be sure that when you're giving your speech, you also listen. So you can estimate, oh, my voice is too slow or my voice is too loud. So you can adjust your voice. So for varied pronunciation, crisp and clear, constant, beautiful vowels, annoying speech, mannerisms such as see, or So we can also observe many of the speaker or your fellow brothers when they give their report or speech. They are always saying um um so it is not good. So you need to listen to yourself talk so that you can detect defects and weakness of your voice. What I mentioned earlier. Number 5. Use enough volume to be effective. Only through an adequate fullness of volume of tone can speaker influence and convince their audience. So speaker who speak too loudly, who do not speak loud enough to be heard, are considered disagreeable to the listening group. So it is very important that in your giving your speech, it must be heard enough to the listener, especially at the backs, so that they can understand you well and they will be informed. So the correct volume of the voice is determined by the place of meeting, the furnishing in the room, the size, contraction of the wall, and other factors affecting the transmission of the sound. So, for example, what I mentioned earlier, this room, a small room. So you know that this is just a small room. So don't make your voice too loud because it can irritate your listener. But if your um, place is wide and large, so you can give your voice loud enough so that the listener at the back can listen you. So number 6, develop resonance in your voice. So resonance implies the fundamental tone of the voice and enriches it by adding overtones or partial tones. Resonance improves the sounds of the voice. So we do not take full advantage of the resonating chamber to make the voice more beautiful, or we use the wrong ones because of the habit or physical abnormality. So on the other hand, if we fail to allow the nasal cavity to resonate like M, N, and NG sound, it cold in the head. So quality characterize your voice. So we must learn to hold to them, building up to the tone, permitting them to endure of a number of seconds rather. See how much golden sound when say if we say golden, when we say golden, or rather than golden. If we say golden, so expectedly your listener will be confused or will be misheard or misunderstand. So if the resonator, throat and mouth chambers are not properly shaped, the voice that comes out in your poor quality. So expect your audience will not understand you. So practice saying with force and precision words that end in ing, such as sing, ding, wing, and ring. When you give your speech, not just sing or sing, not like that. Just sing, ding, wing. Emphasize your word. Ring, ring. That's good. Number 7, work for a pleasant quality. Make your voice rich, dulcet, and attractive. Avoid avoid voice that is throaty, rasping, nasal, or otherwise poor. So the quality of one's voice depends upon his personality and emotional and physical state. So, there are following are several bad voices qualities which you should avoid. First, breathing. Breathing caused by failure to bring the vocal cord closely enough together, like Alki, and you will just breath Alki is Hansen. So, it is not clear and not properly deliberate of your voice. Metallic, caused usually by too much energy in making the tone and breathing tightness of throat, like get that or get out. So not good. Thinness caused by lack of resonant. Hoarseness caused by cold or by strain through misused. Falsetto caused by getting resonance from the back part of the hard palate. Nasality caused by letting the soft palate fall down too much. So, number 8, don't talk through your nose. Nasality means shutting too much sound through the nose. Taking through your nose gives a twangy effect to your speaking. Therefore, be careful not to nasalize the sounds which come before true nasal sounds and those which come after them. When making the sound M, N, and NG, you must make your voice come through your nose with clear, unembedded renaissance. For example, letter M, N, so nasal, mm, mm, like that. You must keep the vowel and consonant sound sharply separated. Send the nasal consonant through the nose and the vowel through your mouth. N, M, like that. So number 9, keep your speaking voice pleasingly low. A person with a low voice is a lot more comfortable to have around. He is better able to make and keep friends. Your voice should not be so low that it's in your throat. Because if your voice is too low, so there's there will be an cause of misunderstand or misheard of your listener. So if your voice is too low, expectedly your listener at the back will not hear you. So it is useless. Or if your voice is too low, your listener in the front cannot understand you. Well, because you only heard yourself. So, if your voice is so high that it irritates others, you should lower its pitch. You can do this by reducing the tension of the vocal cords and by doing practice exercise with open vowel sound such as ah, 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 o, o, o. That is very effective. Number 10. Don't speak in deadly monotone. Remember, the saying variety is mother of enjoyment is your attempt to form your ideal voice. When you deliberate your speech, don't make a monotone. So make it alive, enthusiastic, more energy. So droning monotone bores others, reveals the speaker as being unimaginative, makes ideas seem unimportant, and skills enthusiasm. So when you give your speech in a monotone, so alki is na. So make even me. It, if I heard someone giving speech like that, I will be bored. I will be lost in interest. So to avoid that one, you must be enthusiastic or be energetic, alive, more energy. That is very important. So you using o and a, practice saying the following to express sudden pain, exhaustion, fright, sarcasm, hesitation, please, surprise, good nature, sympathy, and indignation. So that's the 10 list of kind of voice. So you must study it and practice it so you can have a good and you can be an effective speaker. So distinct enunciation and correct pronunciation. So, enhancing of the communication of the speaker and to the creation impression, interest, and attention to the audience. So, first, let's explain the enunciation first. Enunciation is distinctness with which words are uttered. If words are clearly formed, they are easily recognized. Like, Alki is handsome. So it is very clear and well pronounced, well enunciated. If they are muffled and distinct, they create confusion of sound. Poor clarifying make it almost impossible to understand a speaker and denotes mental slowness which decrease the speaker percentage if you cannot deliver your voice clearly, so it will make your listener confused or misunderstand. So pronunciation, which include articulation, is the particular combination of sounds. Pronunciation is determined by standard usage of words and by the dictionaries. The speakers to choose alternative and pronunciation of words accordingly to the man who's speaking situation. When you pronounce your word properly, it can make your listener understand well and they can understand easy and they will be impressed by you. So, communication is strengthened by distinct enunciation and by attention to pronunciation. Mispronunciation can cause words to be confused and can lead to costly error in comprehension, what I mentioned earlier. So you cannot afford to neglect these factors is as important to communication through constant practice on clear, distinct enunciation and correct pronunciation. So you can be effective communicator of ideas and information. So in giving your speech or in giving a public speaking, so don't forget to practice, practice, practice because practice makes better. So don't forget what I mentioned to you earlier, how to relax your jaw, how to pronounce well, your body posture, your throat, and everything. So once again, good morning. I hope you learned a lot from my discussion.